Welcome back to the channel. If you've ever had a bad case of road rage, today's episode of What Makes This Game Great is all for you. Today we're looking at Twisted Metal Black. Let's get right into it. Twisted Metal Black was developed by Incognito and released in June 2001 exclusively for the PlayStation 2. Selling nearly 1 million copies by 2006, it was one of the greatest hits for the PS2. You can still purchase Twisted Metal Black on the PlayStation Store as a digital download today, so there really is no excuse not to try out this great game if you haven't already. So a good story about this game. When this game came out, my brother and I were actually roommates, and I was in my early 20s, he was in his early 20s, and I remember we played the crap out of this game. I mean, we played it all the time. This was the number one co-op two-player game that we played. There were fighting games that he had for this PlayStation 2. I didn't have a PlayStation 2, it was his. But he had other games, Metal Gear Solid 2, for instance, all kinds of games. But this one we played to death. And I mean, we unlocked all the secrets, we unlocked all the stages, we played every mode. But the co-op, the split screen couch co-op, that was really what set this game apart for us. So I played this game a lot, and I've really enjoyed it. And I really recommend it to a lot of people because it still stands up today. 22 years later, I was playing the game to pull screenshots for this video, and I was having a great time with it. So let's get into some of the mechanics of the game if you don't already know them, and then we're going to get into what makes this game great. And I do want you to hold on till the end because I might have a couple tips for you, just if you're starting out playing this game, on how to really get into it and not get discouraged by the difficulty level of it. All right? Thanks a lot. If you've never played a Twisted Metal game, first, what the hell is wrong with you? But seriously, this game, like all the others in the franchise, is a car combat game. Basically, that means you select a car and you combat AI opponents in a series of contained stages. Advancement to the next level is achieved not by crossing a finish line or collecting items or anything else, but when you destroy all the other opponent contestants. Specifically in this game, you start with 10 combatant cars that you can choose from, and you can find 5 others in-game as you play. Basically, you unlock them, you get to play them, and that adds a little more variety to this game and replayability to this game. Because some of them are in stages that you might not select, and that's another point. Some of the stages you have to go to, some of the stages you get to select. Between 2 different stages, your path can branch. So if you get sick of, let's say, the downtown area, well, then you can try your hand at the highway loop. Or if you find the suburbs too hard, well, try the freeway. There's a lot of different variety in this game, and between the levels, the characters that you choose, and the weapons that you pick up. More than any other entry in this series, this game actually is a lot darker. From the soundtrack, to the lighting, to the mood, to the stories for each individual character, this one is much darker, much more messed up, I guess, than any of the other ones. And it goes back to right back to the original Twisted Metal 1, Twisted Metal 2 for the PlayStation 1. This one has the same director in it as those two. The series actually for 3 and 4 had a different team on it, had a different producer or different development team, and they took it in almost like a cartoony fashion. This one is more closely, I would suppose, aligned to the original vision of the series than any of the other games. even those who have played the other entries in this franchise will find this game challenging to begin with. It really is more difficult, and the AI is more intelligent and more focused on killing you than other entries have been. One of the reasons for this, of course, is that the further away an enemy gets, the less damage they receive from both your weapons and the other AI weapons. You can't just avoid enemies and run away and avoid enemies and hope they kill each other off, or wear each other down to a point where they can easily be picked off. And that may make the game more challenging altogether, but really, it doesn't detract from how good this game actually is. In fact, it's very satisfying when you actually get better with the game and you can actually knock off some of these opponents, and you know how to play the game and know how to work new strategies in order to win. So this game has smooth graphics, moody music, an atmosphere to it. It's got challenging gameplay, but really, a lot of games have that, and I'm sure a lot of even car combat games have that. So let's talk about what really makes this game great, what really makes it stand apart, both from the earlier games in the series and other car combat games. But first, before we do that, I'm going to invite you to subscribe. It's only a small click of a button to you, but to me it means all the world. It really does mean a lot, and it helps the channel a lot, and I really, really would appreciate it. So please hit that subscribe button, especially if you want to see more of what makes this game great. Thanks. So the first thing I would say that makes this great game great is the addictive playstyle. I mean, who hasn't had a fantasy of just blasting away somebody who cut you off on a highway, or even a suburb road? I mean, who hasn't had that road rage every once in a while? They just wish they had a machine gun coming out of the hood of their car so they can gun down the asshole who, just gave you the finger. So this game allows you to play that out over and over and over again. It really is wonderful. But really, the genius behind this game, I think, is the variability and the replayability. You have 15 cars to choose from, and even if you choose the same car over and over and over again, even if you take the same levels over and over and over again, this game will not play out the same way twice. It just won't. You'll have different opponents. You'll end up in different fights. You'll have 2- and 3-way fights that'll be different in different areas and different parts of the stages. This game has so much variety in it, and variability in it, and replayability in it. It's just amazing. And then you add the 2-player co-op mode, the split-screen co-op, couch co-op, whatever you want to call it. That is such a great system. This is one of the few games that I can really play couch co-op and play it for hours. I mean, I told you I used to play it a lot with my brother. But I mean, we could knock off an entire Saturday afternoon just playing this one game, game after game after game. 22 years later, I've been playing this game to capture some footage, as you can see, and I had a great time. This is an amazing game, an amazing entry in the Twisted Metal series, an amazing PlayStation 2 game, and one of the great games of all time. And I really feel strongly about that. So why don't you go pick it up off the PlayStation Store and play it for yourself and really sink your teeth into it and enjoy it. So I told you if you hung on to the end, I would have a couple tips for new beginners. So go download this game off the PlayStation Store, or if you've got the PlayStation Plus streaming service, I believe it's on there too. So go check it out. But when you're playing this game, it's not like Twisted Metal 1, 2, 3, or 4. You gotta keep moving. Keep moving. If you do stop to fight, get on a one-on-one fight, make sure before you start the fight that you've got enough firepower to beat the guy down fast And then as soon as he's dead, keep moving again. The other thing is, if you're playing couch co-op, split-screen couch co-op, and you come up against Minion, and that's shield, Minion will always chase the second player. He will chase the second player around and around and around that stadium, and he will leave himself open, especially that back panel of the shield, open to your attacks from the first player. So if you're playing second player, just keep driving around. If you're playing first player, keep aiming for that shield and keep beating him down, because he will ignore you completely. Anyway, have a great day. Please like my video if you like this. Hit that like button. And thank you so much for watching. I'm out.